Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Talk about Elden Ring's new Deep of Night mode. And honestly, I've been feeling a lot more critical about what I've been playing recently, especially with Silksong coming out and like everything like around that. So when I played Deep of Night, honestly thought it was super bad. But I've softened my opinion after just playing it for a little bit. But I still don't think it's that great. So the Deep of Night update for Elden Ring Nightreign, it's essentially just a hard mode of the base game with randomized bosses that you fight, and these new enemy variants that are glowing red. They're like I think called mutant enemies or whatever, and these new depth relics. And yeah, it's just like a new addition to the roguelike formula that Elden Ring Nightreign has introduced, and it is a lot harder. It is so much harder than the base game. I thought I was like tweaking out when I was at depth 1, and I was getting one shot by basic enemies. Granted, I was level 1, but that's still like a shock. When Wilder's Sixth Sense goes off and you're at full health, you know, you know things are getting real bad. And yeah, even for like a veteran player, like I don't really consider myself to be a veteran player, but I do feel well versed. Oh god, well versed in like Elden Ring itself or Elden Ring Nightreign. And yeah, so I'm gonna talk about why it works and or what does work and why I think it fails in a lot of ways. So Deep of Night is a free DLC. It's a free update that came out in September 2025 to Nightreign. And I think it unlocks after beating the final boss. Actually, I'm not sure because I've already had beaten the boss or the final boss before it came out. So I'm not quite sure if you actually need to kill the final boss, but I think you do. It would make sense if you had to. And yeah, you can play it solo, you can play with duos, you can play with trios, like, everything else. And in this mode, the world of Limveld is plunged into essentially an endless night. Now, to be clear, this is not an endless mode. It is not an endless mode. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know where that came from. But it's essentially just the same game. It is the base game that sort of like ranks up every time you beat it. Though you do have to grind it out, and if you do lose on some of the later depths, you do lose XP and you go down if you do mess up too many times. Now, I do think that the punishment for losing outweighs the benefit for winning by a lot, but we'll get into that in a bit. And there are some new things, but the overall gist of it is that it is a completely randomized mode. You can't choose what boss you pick, like that's just a random boss. You can't pick any of the special events. I don't think you can pick the shifting earths. And yeah, you do get these new well, it's not new chalices, they're additional to the original chalice you already had, and they have depth relics, and now these are a lot better than the base relics. They're so much better, and honestly some of the builds you can make from them are insane, and these are additionals concurrent to the ones you originally had. Like you can add 3 more relics essentially to your build, and some of them are really good, but they also do have drawbacks, and we'll talk about the drawbacks in a bit. But yeah, so there is like the rating system, which I did talk about, and there's 5 depths, and each one I think it's like more like plays. You have to beat the game more times to get to the next, and the punishment for losing increases with each step, and the difficulty increases a lot more for each step. So yeah, so obviously this update does seek to increase the replayability of Nightreign, because Nightreign does have a replayability problem. However, I don't really think that this works. But yeah, so first we're going to talk about what I like about it. So what I like is the expanded build variety. Obviously the new relics, the depth relics, add so much to the game. They added a lot with the build variety. Some of the red mutants, like enemies, they do drop really good weapons, some really good weapons. So how these weapons work is that they have 2 really good buffs and some really bad debuffs. I think some of the debuffs are a little too intense and do make some weapons just straight up not worth it. Like I think getting hit and having like a debuff put on you or some like build to like some debuff is really rough, or at least having permanent like health loss. Like I think the only red item we've ever had was the symbol of Erebus, and that was given by Libra, which had a really good buff but a pretty harsh debuff. But the health loss was minimal at the time because not many things did that to you. But now there's a lot of things that could build up, and it could be run ending a lot of times, especially debuffs that are like decreasing your damage reduction, especially in Deep of Night mode. That is a death sentence. That is one-way ticket to one-shot obliteration. It is so bad. So I do think that some of the debuffs either need to be toned down or straight up removed. Like some of them are super bad. Maybe nerfed weapons just a little bit, but Um, yeah, I guess sometimes weapons are worth it because they're just pretty insane. I don't think any of the legendary weapons are affected, but a lot of weapons, even purple weapons, have debuffs, which I thought was pretty crazy. I think only the red weapons should have debuffs if they're going to be so powerful, but the purple weapons don't really have any great buffs to them to warrant having such insane drawbacks to them. But yeah, I do think that the build variety does improve in Deep of Night mode, especially with the depth relics specifically. And the relics can also have a debuff on them as well, but sometimes they don't really matter. But I do think they're worth it most of the time. I also like the way the mutant enemies look. I think just the red aesthetic of them is like pretty intimidating. I'll be pretty shit scared of them, and you should be pretty shit scared of them. They do insane damage. They're way stronger than any enemy around them. Like I remember I find one of the Lord Sworn Captains, and usually you can you can obliterate it with like one ult. But here that didn't even do like a third of its health. It was insane. I was actually shocked, and I was depth 1, right? On my own, I got to depth 3, and I sort of just hovered around there. I lost one game. I saw how much I lost, and I honestly did not bother getting that back. So I just been like hovering in depth 3, just chilling there. Honestly, I don't see why, like, there's no reward for even getting to depth 5, besides like maybe more, I don't even know, like you get more relics, more merc. But honestly, you can just cheat half of that stuff in, so it doesn't even matter. Yeah, but yeah, the co-op is obviously the main focus here still. Like players of similar depth are matched together, so teaming up does help a lot. I do think co-op is probably way better for Deep of Night, especially with how tanky enemies can get. It's like playing solo, like the solo level for depth 1 is like playing trios in the base game. It's like that's what you're doing, trios scaling solo. That's what you're doing. And it is a serious challenge. It is like brutally difficult. And it does deliver if you're looking for first harder Nightreign, because that's what it is. It's just Nightreign, but the enemies are just harder. That's pretty much what it is. And in practice, many players do love this. It's pretty easy to like this idea if you just like hard game modes. And the new relics do add some sort of incentive to play. There is some incentive to play. It's not like there's no reward for playing. The deep relics are really good. It's just I don't think you can use them in the base game. They're only usable in Deep of Night. But I could be wrong. I actually not tested that out. But here's where I actually think it fails. I think the difficulty is most disappointing part of it. Yeah, it's just like unfair, I think, a lot of the times, right? Like enemies essentially just have, it's just enemies like, it's like the most artificial thing you can ever have. Enemies are just stronger in terms of the numbers, but there's no like really unique thing that makes it harder. I think they should have added more stuff to this mode. They should add a unique Dark Souls boss or something like that, or just more like stuff. There has to be more essence for me to be able to say, okay, this is a lot harder, and it's also so interesting to play. I don't really find it interesting to play. I think it's pretty boring. Like you get one shot by most enemies in the game, you get one shot by most things in the game. It's like what is fun about that? It's just, and then the punishment for dying is just so, like the punishment for losing is pretty bad. Like there's no real punishment for dying, right? But the punishment for losing the game sucks. It does suck. Like you just like lose all the progress. Like it takes multiple games, and one game, like finishing one game is pretty long. A game's like 45 minutes long, right? So, or like, I guess like that's not really 45 minutes. It's more like, I'd say like 30, 40 minutes maybe. But losing a game sends you back like 5 games sometimes. I don't know what necessarily causes the number to be calculated. I think it's like the special effect modes, which we'll get into a little bit. I think that might what change difficulty, like the amount of you lose, like the amount of XP you lose for the ranking. And I think the randomness of, now this sounds a little counterintuitive, but the randomness does hurt the like strategy building, especially when you don't know what the boss is. There is one event that prevents you from knowing what the boss is. There's 2 events. One that doesn't show you the map icons, which I don't think is that bad. I actually think that's kind of fun. And another one that doesn't show you what the boss is. And I think that one sucks. That one is just so bad. Like, I don't know. It's like a lot of the builds in this game, like you sort of need to build towards a boss. Like you can't really just go fight a boss with the same build every time. It usually doesn't work out. So if you don't know what the boss is, you're gonna have a really hard time. So I guess I can see the fun in that, but I guess with the punishment for losing is so brutal that it's literally you losing time. It's literally you losing the amount of time you played in previous runs. I do think it's not worth it. I really don't think it's worth it. And I guess the most like common critique that I feel, and I think a lot of people do feel, is it's too repetitive. It's the most slop like game mode I think I've ever played, because there's the thing in Nightreign is that there's only one map, and you can only do so much without it feeling like it's like a 9 to 5 job. It's just the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Even when you change the structures or like the shifting earths, like you can only do it so many times before you feel like you've actually done every map variation in the game. And when you have that feeling, there's no point in playing a mode that's essentially like a pseudo endless mode. There's no point in doing that. It's just so lame. Like I honestly thought when Deep of Night was coming out, they're gonna add at least something more. Like, oh, maybe a bigger map, maybe a new map. Maybe I thought a little too much, but I don't know. Like Limveiled can only get you so far, and it's just I really don't like it. It's a chore to play half the time. I really don't understand how little Aggie does it. I don't. How can he play the same thing over and over? Oh my god. Yeah, I respect him a lot for that, but god, it does feel like a chore half the time to play um, Deep of Night mode, and that's why I low-key stopped playing. It's just so lame to play over and over and over again. And I don't know, like the toughest, even like the toughest mini boss, right? Like the red bell bearing hunter that spawns as like the red form. Like you don't even want to fight that. You don't want to fight that. That is actively a waste of time to fight because it has too much health and it's just not worth it at that point. It's not worth it. I think a lot of the decisions they made are a little questionable. Like the idea is right. I think adding just more stuff, like anything, literally adding anything to Nightreign will make the game infinitely better. It's a $40 game, alright? So adding anything to it increases its value by a lot. I think that's great. Add as much as you want. But the problem is I don't think they're adding the right stuff at the right time. I think Deep of Night could be fun if there was already more stuff to do in the base game of Nightreign, which I don't think that the current stuff in the game warrants having another one. I really don't. I think maybe if they added like another map, more bosses, more Night Lords, more characters, anything like that. I think having a mode where you can't pick your character and it forces you to play a different character, I think that'd be fun. I think a lot of these like little things that they could have done beforehand to sort of build up towards Deep of Night would have been a lot better than having Deep of Night come out right now. Because right now it doesn't feel fun, and I don't want to play it like ever. I don't enjoy it. I don't really like it. It's just kind of boring. It's like I love Nightreign. I really do like Nightreign. I thought it was a pretty solid game. I think I gave it like an 8 out of 10 or something. And on my scale, I think I weigh games really harshly. I am very critical of the games I play most of the time. Like I think Silksong's also an 8 out of 10 game. All right, so I just want to let you know I'm very critical of. I will make a Silksong video eventually, maybe, I don't know, but I'm very critical of the games I play, and I think Nightreign can be super fun. It can be one of the most fun roguelikes ever. But the problem is they're being really conservative about it. They're being really protectory over it. Like they don't want to be super outlandish in the execution of roguelike to the point where it doesn't even feel like a roguelike. It feels like a I don't even know, like how do you even describe this? It's like it's a roguelike second, but I don't know what it is first. Right? Like a roguelike, let's take Risk of Rain 2. Risk of Rain 2 is one of the greatest roguelikes I've ever played. It is so fun, it is so good, right? All the items feel like they are so build defining. There are items that make your build bad. There are bad items that actually harm your build. But that's the point of it, right? Like you have to have like items that synergize well with other things and actively make other things bad. Characters synergize really well with specific items that can completely make or break your build. Like it's too random, and I think right now Nightreign is in like the weird like trope, I guess, of not random enough, but also too random. It's like in between that, and it just feels so weird to play because like a lot of the things you get don't matter. Really, they don't matter. Like a lot of the stuff you get is just like here's more numbers, and now they're doing it with the enemies. So I think if they want to increase people's will to play the game, they have to do more stuff with the game. Like they have to make enemies randomly have like glintstone blades spawn on them. They have to make enemies randomly like shoot madness beams at you. They have to make enemies have like some weird aura that slows you down or gives you less iframes. They need to do something more than just making enemies red and having more health and damage. I really like I don't know. There just needs to be more to the game. And yeah, in theory, it just has like all the right ideas. Like here, like this is a good step in the right direction, but I think it's too small of a step to the point where it just feels like awkward. It feels really awkward. Like the fresh relics, right? The new relics, the depth relics, not the fresh relics, the depth relics, and the weapon buffs and the weapon debuffs. I think some of the debuffs aren't too bad. I think like getting hit and having some poison like build up is a pretty neat idea if like you didn't already get one shot by enemies. I do think that increasing just enemy numbers is super cringe. I don't like that at all. I'm very critical of artificial difficulty, and you guys will hear that in the Silksong review when I make that in like the next 10 years, right? And yeah, the thing is like Nightreign can be fun sometimes. The game can be fun. But too many decisions like feel punitive or just like blank, hollow, and artificially difficult. And that's like the most common sentiment I hear about it, especially among people I like watching on YouTube and just, you know, Reddit, like all like Discord. All my friends say it too. It's just like, I don't know. Like in the end, Deep of Night does appeal to like the very niche, like one shot. Like I like getting one shot players, the masochists, I guess. And it looks cool on the surface, but then like the execution it's just aimless. There's no point, especially with where Nightreign is now. And I don't know, maybe some like hardcore players like are obviously little Aggie. He's been grinding this shit all day. It's like I cannot believe he can play this like for more than 5 rounds. But yeah, it's just like, you know, it's just a reminder. It's like I don't even know. It's like Groundhog Day when this game first came out. I feel the same way about Nightreign, even after everything, like all the Everdarks came out. I still feel the same, that the game just needs more, but they keep adding the stuff that I would like to see at the wrong time. Like I still need to see more maps. That's what I need to see first, right? I like the idea of the stronger bosses. I like the idea of more weapons. I like the idea of like just like the Deep of Night mode. But the idea is that Limvale is like getting on my mind. Like I might wake up one day and be in Limvale. Like that's how much I've seen this map over and over and over and over again. I never want to go play Elden Ring and go to Limvale or Limfield or Limgrave. Oh my god, I'm losing my mind. I never want to go to Limgrave ever again, because I'm just gonna get like Nightreign PTSD of seeing like the Bell-bearing hunter spawn in that one like in the where you get the Ashes of War, like that area. Like I'm gonna get PTSD from Nightreign because I'm gonna see like when he grabs me, I want to see like the electrical like currents come out of his hand, and it's gonna be like oh my, it's I don't know. I just think Nightreign just needs to add like some fundamental stuff first before it can do the more experimental stuff, right? Like we first need to see Nightreign be a good, like not I won't say a good Souls game, because I think it is a good Souls game. I think the unique bosses that they have and the encounters like with the enemies and like the way the game's laid out is fundamentally good. But there just needs to be more to that foundation. There needs to be more content, I guess, in that area. Like they're adding, I don't know, I keep on saying the same, I'm like saying the same thing over and over again. But that's just how I feel about it. That's really just how I feel about it. Maybe in the future I might like it more when they add more stuff. But honestly, like there's no reward for it. Like I saw this one, was it a Reddit comment or a YouTube comment? I don't remember. But they did say that the easiest thing they could have done was a reward for getting to Death 5 was having the Nightfarer skins have like the red mutant effect on them, and I 100% agree. It's insane to me that there's no unique skins for this mode. There's no reward for this mode besides just getting more merc and more relics. That's the only thing you get from it. Maybe in the future they'll add more stuff to it, but it's weird that they didn't add it when they released it. Like that's the thing for me. Like it's kind of scary seeing Fromsoftware do this. It feels kind of lazy in a lot of ways. Like this mode especially feels so lazy. It's pretty lazy. Like if it's just a number change with little stuff there, I'm kind of scared for what they do in the future if this is like what they consider to be added, like content worthy for a new free update. And it is a free update. I don't hate it for being a free update. I just hate the idea that it's just lame, I guess. It's pretty lame. But yeah, you know, that's it. If you like what you saw, hit that like button, press subscribe. This was actually a Random Rants video. It was still random. I didn't even like make a script for this one. I started talking. It's pretty late for me right now, to be honest. So yeah, if you like what you saw, hit that like button, press subscribe. I am out. Peace.